Hi everybody, welcome to Chapter 6 of Money in Schools. This is the Human Resources chapter. I would encourage you to sit down, take it easy, grab a drink. This one's going to be a long one, but I think it'll be an interesting one and I think it'll be an enjoyable one for all of you. So as always, I'll present to you the main ideas, the chapter drivers. These are all available in our textbook. We're going to talk really about all of these in depth. I think these are all very important concepts, and I'm excited to share them with you. As some of you know, this is my background and interest in education. The human resources and the human factor in schools really is what drives me. Who are you hiring? Why are you hiring them? How can you make an effective hire? This is what the majority of my research is done on, relating this to organizational behavior and school finance. So I think you could, this chapter could be its own book, it could be its own course. One of the most important things that you do with your money that you send to schools is you hire the right people and you hire the right teachers. So we're going to talk about personnel and hiring, a lot in here. This is a long slideshow, like I said, because I have a lot to share with you and I have a lot that I think will benefit you as future principals. If you have any questions for me on this chapter, like I said, this is why I love talking about this stuff, and I have a lot of support and a lot of data that can probably help you when you transition into the role as a building principal in ways that you can do an effective hire. So, when you budget for school, the main idea that you have to think about is that 80 to 85% of the money that you spend in your school site budget is honestly on your staff. This is on your teachers, this is on your paraprofessionals, custodians, basically. This is where your money goes to. Who you hire improves the school. It doesn't matter, the facilities matter, the infrastructure matters, but who you hire is really what can improve your school. If you have good people, it makes up for lack of funding. That's why I can't stress enough, the most important thing that you do is recruit and retain good people. So we're going to talk about strategies to do that in ways that can impact budgeting in this model. So if this was a human resources class, I would be looking at this from a person perspective. If this was an organizational behavior class, I would be looking at this from a person, environment, fit perspective. This is a finance class, so we have to look at it from a financial perspective. So our book stresses salaries, wages, and benefits. Benefits, salaries, and wages cost districts money. Individuals that you hire, in order to retain them, you have to continue giving them incentives to stay in the position. Because of that, you have to continue to spend more money than you initially invested in the person to retain them. So everybody that's a part of your building, you have to account for when you're talking about what you're doing for personnel-related reasons. So we're going to talk about the 6 major tasks. And that's what we're going to be going over related to, basic personnel management. For some reason, this is going weird on me, so bear with me, everybody. I have to scroll back to the correct slide. Here we go. So here is a big idea that you need to know, and this could be something that you see on the quiz. Enrollment drives staffing. Staffing does not drive enrollment. Basically, what that means is that if you have people that are in your district, then you can hire more teachers. You can't hire the best and the brightest teachers and say, if you build it, they will come. That only works in Field of Dreams. That doesn't work in reality in schools. Staffing does not drive enrollment. People do not move and do not migrate. Large amounts of people don't move because they hear that the teachers are good. They move because they hear it's a good district, but the enrollment has to be there first in order to drive the staffing, and then it works that way. So your job really is to forecast what the population is going to be, especially if you're at an elementary school, because you're going to see grade levels where you might have a huge population of first graders, where you have 4 sections of first grade in your building, but you only have 2 sections of third grade. Well, if you have 4 sections of first grade, you know that in 2 years you're going to have 4 sections of third grade, because those people are going to grow and they're going to move with you in the building. So you're going to have staffing needs to adjust to that. You're going to need to hire people that are flexible and willing to switch grades. And you're also going to have to keep an eye on what's going on at the 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and 4-year-old level to know if hiring temporary staff is better than hiring permanent staff. The other thing that I have to mention is, SPED and ELL drive everything, and you know that, and we've talked about that multiple times in this class. So if you end up with a high SPED population and you want to hire a classroom teacher, well, you are out of luck because you better hire a SPED teacher, because that's the population that you have to target because federal mandates dictate that. So that can happen. Populations can change at the last minute, and that can be a major challenge and a major problem for you. So recruitment in selection, this is super, super, super important. If I were in your shoes when you become building principals, I would start recruiting in March and April. I would try to partner with colleges and universities. You realize that you're in a market that you're competing with people that are going to go to Texas or Arkansas, so you have to be a salesperson as a building principal. You want good teachers, go to colleges and universities in March and April, try to show people your building, what it has to offer, why the building could be a good fit, and learn how to be a salesperson. And if you can do this, then maybe you'll be able to staff the higher needs positions that that you might not be able, you might not be able to fill. You could wait till the day before school starts and find a social studies teacher. If you wait till the day before school starts and try to find a calculus teacher, it's not going to work that way. So think about your high needs positions, your advanced sciences, your advanced math, and your foreign language. Those are traditionally your 3 highest needs positions in schools. Try to get those people on board, signed up early as best as you possibly can. So the notion of professional development, you don't need me to say that training and development costs money. Once you hire people, you have to commit to them and show them that you're willing to train and give them professional development, or else they're going to get frustrated in their position and want to leave. Mentor teachers, I know that people have studied and have looked at mentor teachers. My experience has shown that it's a mixed bag. Some people get really good mentor teachers. Some people get mentor teachers that are just collecting a paycheck. Because of that, I think the money in training and development, individualizing it so that people can develop in what they want to be, that's what you can do to be an effective building principal to retain your quality teaching staff. So you have to assign teachers effectively. I want to talk about a couple of things that I have learned in my years of experience that if you end up as a high school principal or an elementary school principal that I think is important. If you end up as a high school principal, you're going to have to staff teachers in subject areas where they're probably going to have 2 or 3 preps, and they're going to be teaching those preps throughout the day. Most teachers tend to like their preps back to back, meaning they would like geometry first and second period. They don't want geometry first and 7th period. And they'd like a break after one prep's over, then they can transition into the next prep. Marching band, if you're a music teacher, you want to put your chorus, your orchestra, your classes that aren't going to travel as much as marching band is in the morning, and you want to put marching band in the afternoon. That's effective as well. AP courses. Don't schedule AP courses at the end of the day. That is a big, big, big no-no, especially if your school's getting funding for AP courses. Because if the funding is based on their test results, students are more apt to learn less at the end of the day when they're thinking about getting out of school. Put your AP courses right after lunch, if you can do that, because that's the most effective time when a student's going to learn. And especially high school, you do not want your AP courses in the morning while they're still trying to wake up as well. Elementary schools. If you have to design a schedule for an elementary school, the key thing that you're going to have to do is fit in your specials, your phys ed, your general music, your art, if your building's still fortunate enough to have art, and then your technology classes. Schedule that around your teachers, not around the special teachers. The special teachers, in theory, should have a passion for what they do, meaning that if you give them 4 back-to-back periods of something, they really shouldn't be complaining. Your classroom teacher is going to be agitated if they're teaching for 5 hours straight, and then they have their prep period, and then they have their planning period, and then they have the special at the end of the day, and they've basically been on their feet for 5 hours straight. So schedule specials around the classroom teacher. I think that's important as well. So staff satisfaction, you know, I don't know, surveys can be effective. Try to do them digitally. Don't have anybody put anything in writing because they're probably going to lie to you if they do. Do it digitally. That's the most effective way to find out what staff morale is. And try to do it through one-on-one conversations. If you can take the time to ask your teachers how they're doing and how they're feeling, that's going to work as well. How do you make people happy? It's through pay. But if you can do it by showing them that you believe in them and you care about them, that can help as well. I like the idea of giving little trinkets as well. That obviously is an effective way to make people believe and enjoy the organization. So we've talked about performance competencies. Expectations should be clear. The other big idea here is when you observe a teacher, the turnaround should be instantaneous. Teachers should feel good with their observations. You should tell them what they did right. If you're giving them areas for improvement, that's fine. But if you observe a teacher on a Monday and you don't give them feedback until a Friday, the next 3 days that teacher is completely ineffective in the classroom because all they're thinking about is, I wonder how my observation went. So you need to give them feedback within 24 hours. If you can do it right after the observation's over, if you're doing it digitally, I think that's effective as well. So what am I doing? What is my current study? What I'm working on right now in the state of Pennsylvania, I targeted the districts that have the most applicants for teaching positions. We're talking about districts that have, 500 and 600 applications for 1 or 2 classroom teaching positions. I wanted to look at basically what are they using to recruit in the procedures that they're using. And what I found is they've used multi-tiered evaluation systems for interviews, and they started recruiting early. Those are the big findings and what I think I've learned the most from this experience.